Hi, welcome to Marriage Mastery, the 5 shifts my clients use to save their marriage. All right, let's talk about who this webinar is for so you know whether or not this is worth your time. This is for you if you are married to a good man, but you feel more like roommates than soulmates and you want to get back to feeling in love again. This is for you if your spouse has had an emotional or a physical affair and you want to save your marriage and you want to restore the trust that has been broken. This is for you if you are even thinking about getting a divorce. There's been so many things that have happened in your relationship and things haven't been getting better. And you're thinking that you might want to file for a divorce, but this is your last chance. You're trying to figure out if there's anything out there that's going to help you to transform your marriage, because deep down, you really don't want to get a divorce. Okay. So those are the 3 type of problems and 3 type of women that I help. So let's talk about what you can expect in the next 30 minutes during this training. This is a no fluff training. It's for professional working mothers who want to get back to feeling calm and peaceful again. It's for you if you want to feel close and connected to your spouse. It's for you if you want an easy, carefree type of conversation with your partner. You want communication to be easy. It's for you if you want to rediscover the passion that you once had, get back to being a joyful person, and you want to have more fun in your marriage. It's for you if you just want to enjoy the precious moments that you have in your life. Okay, let's talk about who I am. My name is Danielle Adamski, and I'm a relationship coach. I'm a motivational speaker and a podcast host and author. In my previous life, I worked in a very male-dominated Fortune 500 company as an electrical engineer. This is where I got a lot of the information about what a man really is looking for, since most of the people were men. I am certified in personal leadership from Columbia University. And since then, I've published 3 self-help books, and I've started my own podcast called Manifest Your Dream Marriage Podcast. I've also been featured in many articles and also on other people's podcasts. I've created a personal development school where I teach multiple programs. One of them is called Inner Mastery. The other is Relationship Mastery and Leadership programs. My online programs are very unique because I use scientific principles plus business methods plus spirituality to create lasting change in a very short amount of time. My clients hire me because of the results that I've been able to produce over a short amount of time. I have a 90% success rate at keeping marriages together, and my marriage retreats are often booked out months in advance. This is a picture of my husband and I and our 2 kids. And this is when we first got married. Now, we weren't always this blissfully happy as we are in this picture and we are today. There were many times where we had very rocky communication. In fact, oftentimes we would scream at each other. Our communication was terrible. I felt like he didn't appreciate what I was doing and he didn't feel like he was good enough. Ultimately, that led to us or him leaving me for about 6 weeks. That's when I did a lot of self-work, and we worked on my communication and his communication, and we worked on our listening skills and all the things that I'm going to teach you in this webinar. And you can see how we came back together to create our best life and get back to feeling like best friends and soulmates once again. Let's talk about Jennifer. Jennifer is a successful manager with 2 teenagers. So she is a working mom. Before she reached out to me and before she had a crisis in her marriage, she often said that she was resentful and angry because she was so overworked. A lot of the burden of taking care of the finances was put on her. She was not spending a lot of time with her children because she was working so much. and she wasn't spending time with her husband. During that time, their communication started to break down, spending time together started to break down, and ultimately he began an emotional affair with a coworker that led to a physical affair. When Jennifer contacted me, she was looking to try to work on herself to see if she could fix her part of what she contributed to the marriage. She wanted to work on herself, and with the hopes that maybe her husband would stop this emotional affair, which happened to turn physical affair, and stop that and then come back to the marriage, okay? After 6 weeks of working together, what she said that she had gained from marriage mastery was an increased self-care. She started to love herself more. She started to enjoy spending time with her kids, and her kids started to calm down. They were getting upset with the situation, and things were starting to take a turn for the worse for the kids. But after the program, her kids started to mellow out again, and she started to work on some of the techniques with the kids that you're going to learn in this program here. She also had an increase in acceptance of other people and of herself. She increased her faith in God and her belief in her own abilities and success. Slowly during the program, her husband began to change his mind about wanting a divorce, and he started to participate in some of the activities that she was doing during marriage mastery. He's decided now that he no longer wants a divorce. He has cut off the affair partner, and together they are working towards rebuilding their trust and their communication now. Let me share with you another real woman who got real results. Her name is Marissa. She's a teacher. She has 2 children. Before she came to marriage mastery, she was fighting with her husband on a regular basis. She felt like they weren't on the same page with chores and responsibilities. She didn't feel like she was attractive to him anymore. They had a lack of physical and emotional intimacy, and she herself was looking into getting a divorce. That's when her husband decided to move out of the home. And once he moved out of the home, she started to realize that what she deeply, truly, really wanted was she just wanted her husband the way that he was in the beginning. Okay, so we started working together. Again, Marissa wanted to work on herself to see if she could become that best version of herself, because she had lost a lot of the characteristic traits that she once had in her marriage. She wasn't as loving as she was before. She would get emotional often, and she didn't have the self-confidence in herself or self-esteem. So after working together for 6 weeks, her husband began to seek out her for conversations. He obviously moved back in, and they worked on their marriage. She's more committed than ever to working together on their household responsibilities, and so is he. She increased her self-care, her confidence, her love, and her self-esteem. And ultimately now she's so grateful that she went through this program so that she can save her marriage. Here's what I believe to be true. All of us want the same things. We want to feel loved. We want to feel cherished. We want to feel desired. When you got married, your spouse made you feel all of these things. And most people get a divorce because they don't feel loved anymore. They don't feel like they're cherished or important anymore. They don't feel desired or sexy. They feel more like roommates than soulmates. Okay, and let's talk about what this program here is going to teach you is the 5 shifts. Now, these 5 shifts are necessary for you to transform your marriage. Okay, and they're going to be this: own your destiny, practice forgiveness, work on self-awareness, having a growth mindset, and invest in mentoring. These 5 shifts alone will transform your marriage. So let's talk about owning your destiny. Here is the truth. Sitting back and waiting for your husband to want to go to therapy or to a marriage retreat may have you waiting until your marriage is on the verge of divorce. he's had an emotional or physical affair, or you just are so fed up that you want him out of the home and he moves out of the house. Okay. If you wait to the last minute, you have a bigger problem. Okay. So sitting and waiting for your husband to want to go to therapy is just a recipe for disaster. You must own your destiny and you must stop blaming your spouse for all the problems in your marriage. If your husband is always at fault, always the one that's doing wrong, perhaps he's not the right person for you. But more often than not, we blame our spouse, hoping that they will change, and we don't ever look at how and what we have done to contribute to the problems in our marriage, or how we have contributed to escalating problems in our marriage. Okay. So no more passively hoping, wishing, or dreaming for your marriage to change. It is really time for you to take an active role in leading your marriage by focusing on what you can control, and what you can control is really just you. Have you heard the saying, as above, so below? Well, what that really means is our inner thoughts and feelings actually create what we see and experience in life. So here is the truth. You don't have to be a victim anymore. It is time for you to step into being a victorious woman and go after what you want in your marriage. Take back your power and consciously lead your marriage to having what you want. Let's talk about another client of mine. Her name is Sharon. Sharon wasn't particularly happy for many of her 28 years of marriage. Sharon and her husband struggled with getting back to their romantic connection for many years. They had become more like roommates than soulmates. That's when her husband had broken her trust and he started an affair with a close friend of theirs. He filed for a divorce and he was about to leave Sharon for this other woman. That's when Sharon contacted me to focus on herself and to help her save her marriage. Now, we focused on what she could control and how to convey her feelings in a way that ultimately transformed their marriage. So here's what Sharon had said. Good morning. I just wanted to give you an update. My husband came home and we are working on having a better, loving, caring relationship. He came over for Father's Day and we had a great visit and he left around 8 p.m. I told him good night and he asked if I was still awake and I said yes. Did he want me to call him? And he said that he wanted to come home. I told him to come to the door and it was unlocked and I would be waiting for him. I am so happy that he did. So Sharon was able to turn around her marriage, get her husband back. Let's talk about shift number 2. Practice forgiveness. This is a good one. Broken trust happens when a partner breaks their promises or violates important expectations. If your partner has broken your trust, you have a decision to make. You can continue to hold a grudge or harbor resentment or bitterness and anger towards your spouse, or you could just practice forgiveness and move past the hurt and heal your marriage. I believe that we're all connected through a divine spirit. And when you practice forgiveness to heal the broken trust you have with your spouse, you restore the connection that you have. Elson said, I had a big win related to the Ho'oponopono prayer. I did this exercise before going to sleep after my partner and I had a kind of tense discussion. In my dreams, we made up and he forgave me. I woke up knowing exactly what apology to give and felt peace, beginning to think some of this stuff is magic. And the truth is, it is magic. Forgiveness is so important. It has such a high vibration. So when you start to forgive, you're going to think, what is happening? What's happening is your relationship is getting restored. Let's move into the third shift, which is my secret weapon. To know thyself is the beginning of wisdom, said Socrates. And the truth is that most people don't know themselves, even if they've spent years in therapy. And here's how I know. If you get this wrong, you really don't understand why you're engaging in another argument. You don't understand why the argument continues to repeat itself over and over and over again. Why are we having the same argument? The truth is you're not getting to the root of the issue. okay? And you will continue to repeat the same conversation, same mistakes over and over again until you finally understand yourself. When you get this right and you understand self-awareness, you will understand all of your beliefs about relationships, beliefs about yourself, and beliefs about your partner, and beliefs about what's possible. You will learn the thought patterns that you have and the thought patterns your partner has. You'll understand why you're reacting to things that you may not have reacted in the past to. You'll understand why your emotions get so escalated, okay? Or why he's shutting down, okay? You will also express your needs more clearly. When you know yourself, it's easier to express yourself. And your marriage gets stronger because most people really just want to be seen and heard and understood. And if you have self-awareness, you can do this easily. Let's talk about the old way to save your marriage. Just ignoring the problem. Just continuing to ignore that there is a problem, a very big problem. An old way is to focus just on your spouse. Keep thinking that your spouse needs to change and focusing on them. Looking outward versus looking inward. Looking at exterior things in your life like, oh, it's my in-laws' fault, or financial, or job, or kids, or my partner. Some other thing outside you is making you angry or resentful or hurt or sad or depressed or anxious. Couples talk therapy. This exasperates the problem when you go and have couples therapy. And that's why oftentimes men do not want to go back to therapy. If they went one time, most likely they don't want to go back if you've been complaining about each other. Now, I'm not saying all therapy is bad, okay? But if you've been in therapy and you've been going to therapy and it's not transforming your marriage quickly, then it's not the right therapist for you, or it's not the right method for you, okay? I call these other things passive actions, where you do some self-help by reading the book, maybe doing the exercises, maybe, and then forgetting about them. They don't become a habit. You don't use it anymore, and it goes all back to the way things were before. Just sitting back and watching a few videos, okay? That's not transformation, that's information. Or getting counsel from friends that don't have great relationships, that don't have any expertise in communication or relationships. An aggressive action would be that you separate, you kick your spouse out, or he decides that he wants to leave, or those are some methods that people use to try to stop the fighting, just them to get out of the house. Okay. Now, while that may be true that you stop fighting, ultimately, if you want to save your marriage, that's not going to help you. Let's talk about the new way. You don't need to spend years in therapy. Okay. If you've been spending years in therapy, you don't need to do that. You don't need to spend a ton of time reading self-help books or Google searching relationship article after article to save your marriage. The fastest and easiest way to have a fulfilling marriage is to look inward. It's to develop a deep self-awareness. You identify your limiting beliefs. You work on changing your mindset. You heal parts of you that have been hurt, that you've been carrying this baggage. We often carry baggage from relationship to relationship, and we never really deal with the emotions that we haven't healed. And then we create new patterns of behavior. So if you can identify your limiting beliefs, change your mindset to a growth mindset, heal your emotional parts, and create new patterns of behavior, you have a deep self-awareness, and that's the secret weapon to saving your marriage. In 6 weeks, you'll be able to identify with your higher self. And I call my higher self your true self, or your God self, or your spirit self, or your whatever self you want to associate with being a higher version of you, and letting go of an ego version of you, and start looking at your marriage from a different perspective. Marissa had tried therapy. We talked about Marissa before. She tried therapy. She went to church counseling. She read a bunch of self-help books. Like I said, she was a teacher. So it wasn't like she wasn't used to learning and gathering information. She certainly was. She even purchased some of the online marriage programs that are out there. And even after all that, she was still considering a divorce because she didn't feel desired or appreciated or fulfilled in her marriage. But after watching just one workshop that I did, she stopped fantasizing about divorce and started leading her marriage to happiness. Let's talk about what she said. Marissa said, I'm a little over an hour into the video that has already changed my life. We're talking about the Understanding Men bonus video when you join Marriage Mastery. Let's do a quick recap of the 3 shifts we've talked about so far. Own your destiny, practice forgiveness, and develop a deep sense of self-awareness. Now we're going to move into growth mindset. I want to talk about what a fixed mindset is and then what a growth mindset is, and you can see where you are at and where you need to move towards. A fixed mindset is you share your need with your spouse, they become defensive with that need. Then you defend yourself back, saying why you need it. And they again defend their position of why they think they've already given it to you, or you don't need it, or whatever, how you're not doing something for them. And then this ultimately becomes this back and forth until like you're arguing, you're shouting, your emotions are getting out of control. Neither one of you are listening at this point to the other person's perspective. You're trying to just tell them your perspective so you don't feel heard. And you also feel like you are rejected when you don't feel heard or seen or understood. If you do that enough, you've been having arguments enough, what typically happens is that one partner will decide to share their needs with another person, and that person might be somebody at work, and they may just be getting it off their chest. But what happens is they may develop an intimate relationship by sharing intimate details about your marriage with someone else, and they become intimate with this other person. That leads to an emotional affair, or it leads to a physical affair. The other thing that typically happens is if you've been fighting for a long time, you might just think you need to separate and cool off for a bit. Or if it's gotten so bad, you've decided that this person no longer is capable of hearing you and capable of understanding you and capable of change. So you decide that the only best option is to just get a divorce. Now, if you decide that you want to enter into the growth mindset, here's what a growth mindset looks like. You share your need with your spouse. Your spouse looks at that and doesn't take offense to it. Your spouse sees that need as a genuine need that you're asking for and looks at it as an opportunity to grow with you and to connect with you and to do things for you. You would sit down and have a calm discussion. Instead of yelling at each other, you have a calmer discussion and you feel like that person is listening to you and they hear you and they understand you and they can give you what you need. The relationship then becomes a closer relationship where you are best friends and you are sharing like a best friend would share. And this person wants to do things because they love you and they don't take offense to what you're saying. This growth mindset is really about having a mindset that you never quit, that there's always a way and that you can get through any hardship that you're having right now. If you don't quit when things are uncomfortable, because things like get uncomfortable in marriage, you can have everything that you've ever wanted in your relationship. These challenges can be seen as an opportunity for you to get stronger and better in your relationship, okay? Let's talk about how many hours you may have spent learning how to increase your passion, improve your communication, develop deep self-awareness, learning more about compassion, psychology, mindset, and healing. Having a growth mindset means you reach out and try to be the best version of you by learning more about relationships and what makes relationships great. After 22 years of operating in a fixed mindset, I was able to get my husband to come back to me, save our relationship by developing a growth mindset where I learned how to communicate in a way that builds curiosity, compassion, and a deep intimacy. A growth mindset impacts more than just your marriage. When you have a growth mindset, you can do so much in your career or business. I've built a 6-figure coaching business by using the same strategy of having this growth mindset towards my business. I certify women to be relationship coaches, so my marriage mastery program can be taught to as many people as possible. I also spend time coaching and conducting seminars where I teach marriage mastery method to small businesses or women's group and church groups, or any type of little workshop that someone has where relationship improvement is needed. So the 5th shift is to invest in mentoring. Now, I really know that you're a smart woman because you've taken the time to watch this webinar so far, but it's not about how smart you are. I think we all know that. It's about time. We're all here for a short amount of time, and we don't know when that time is going to end. And if we want to have a fulfilling life, we want to learn things as quickly as we can learn them so that we don't waste time and we get the answers and the feelings we want as quickly as we want. So if you could have done this quickly on your own, I know as a smart woman, you would have already done it by yourself. I know that. Smart women understand the value of their time and what is the real cost, emotionally and financially. So it's smart to either pay someone who has the skills already to work with you or to invest in learning the skills that you need to create a lifelong commitment and fulfilled relationship. Everyone needs a mentor. Okay. I have a business mentor personally, and then you have somebody that works on fitness, and you want to have somebody that works in your relationship. Okay. So every mentor brings 2 things. They bring out new ideas that you hadn't seen or heard before, and they bring accountability so that you get the results. And I hope that this training has given you some new ideas that you didn't have prior to listening to this webinar. And I know there's a lot of coaches out there right now. They're claiming to be relationship coaches, but they're just starting out and they don't have as much experience in coaching. It is best to put your most important relationship in the hands of an expert who's already worked with hundreds of women working on the same things you're working on, and who's spent tens of thousands of dollars and hours researching and coaching couples and individuals in their marriage already. So I've already invested in me so that I learned all the information so that I can teach that to you. You need to work with an expert who's already helped women, who can show you the spots that you can't see. I call them blind spots. Everyone has them, including me. You want someone else to hold the mirror up to you and show you what it is that you need to focus on so that you can improve. Your life can continue to grow. Your spirit can continue to grow. You need more than just some information. You need transformation, because information doesn't always lead to transformation. Now, you're important, and your marriage is important, and your children and family are important. And you want to always put your family and your future in the hands of somebody who's already had success and who already has the marriage that you're looking to have. My program has a very high success rate. 90% of the people that come to me will save their marriage and transform it. I created a world-class program, and I only work with women that are committed, coachable, and ready to take action. So your commitment level and your coachability and your action taking is what's going to actually transform your marriage. I've got the program for you, but you are the other piece to that puzzle. And if you are committed to your marriage and you're coachable and you're decisive and ready to take action, then you're going to get results, massive results. Let's talk about some of the results that my clients have gotten. Ginger, she says, I can already see a change in the way I interact with my husband. We had a financial issue today, and I approached him about it in a cooperative manner rather than accusing out the gate. He responded so much better, and we were able to share our perspectives and how we communicate better the next time. We even had an impromptu date night. Allison said, Sunday, I can't wait. And for my thankful Thursday, I believe it's around my 1-year anniversary. I can't even comment how extremely grateful I am to have found this program and how profoundly my life and happiness has changed. Amy says, hi, Danielle. I awake this evening, so I'd like to share my wins with you. For Christmas, I received the first thoughtful gift from Mike in 2 years. My client, Nisha, texted me, said, just wanted to let you know that I had an amazing family evening with dinner on the patio and kids playing in the backyard. And it's such a relief knowing all I have to do is be responsible for my own energy and weather the storm. The quote I chose. Thank you for an amazing coaching call today. Let's talk about the 5 shifts. Let's do a recap on all 5. You want to own your destiny, practice forgiveness, develop a deep sense of self-awareness, change your mindset from a fix to growth, and invest in mentoring. These 5 shifts are enough for you to restore passion and connection in your marriage. Now you have a decision to make. You have a choice. You can choose to do nothing, or you can choose to transform your marriage. Let me share with you how I can help you transform your marriage. My team and I have set aside some time in the next 48 hours to speak to you personally about how you can take these 5 shifts and start applying them to your marriage right now. Whatever the biggest challenges are, I have already seen them and I can help you overcome them. The cost of this call is free. You might be asking, why would we do this? We do this because we genuinely love helping people. Okay, let's talk about who this call is for. This call is for you if you're a corporate or business professional woman who is doing well in other areas of your life, and reconnecting with your husband is a priority for you right now. This is top of mind, top of list for you to focus on right now. You are ready to step into that best version of you so that you can have the best version of your marriage. Let's talk about who it's not for. It's not for couples that were married to narcissists, or couples that are married to someone with substance abuse, or someone that is physically or emotionally abusing you. This is not a call for people that are struggling financially or experiencing any life-threatening illness. Those needs need to take priority if you are struggling financially or if you have a life-threatening illness. You focus on those things first and then work on your relationship after that. This is also not for you if you are looking for some quick, fix scheme, some Band-Aid or some magic pill to transform your marriage. It's just not. That's not what I do. This is also not for you if you think that your partner is the one that needs to change. And if your partner changes, everything will be magically better for you without you changing anything about you. Let's get clear on how a relationship strategy session goes. The first thing we do is I focus on what is your problem, okay? What specifically is the biggest problem in your marriage? And then I look at what has been stopping you from achieving that. And then we focus on your ideal marriage. If you could have anything you wanted, what would you really want? And then we come up with a game plan on how long that will take and what that exactly looks like for you. And then you'll have these 5 shifts plus that game plan for you to work on your marriage. Why are we doing this? Well, we do this because we care about keeping families together. And we also know that if after this webinar and after that call, you would like to move forward and work with us in Marriage Mastery in our 6-week program, we understand that you might want our help in transforming your marriage. You might not want to go it alone. And then we will invite you in, if you're a good fit, to Marriage Mastery and invite you into being one of our clients so that you can become the next testimonial that says that you've transformed your marriage and that you're getting back to restoring that connection, that feeling of love, desire, and feeling special again. Here's how you can get a hold of us to get that free session. You go to www.danielleadamski.com/apply. There are only so many spots available. Obviously, you'll want to take one that is in the best time frame that you have. If you don't see one that works for your timetable, go ahead and just email me at danielle@danielleadamski.com and let me know that you couldn't find a time. But there are many times available, but they are going fast. So please pick one in the next 48 hours, and then we'll get on a call together and we'll have that relationship strategy session. It's been a pleasure sharing this with you today, and I hope to hear from you soon. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.